everyone, myself Dr. Kiranmayi, Assistant Professor and Area Chief, Digital Transformation and Operations, Department of Management Studies, Aditya University. Myself is the course instructor for Business Statistics and Analysis for Decision Making. So, in the previous lecture, we have understood what is mean, median, quartiles and how to interpret the values and the areas of their applications. In this present lecture, I am going to discuss about another measures of central tendency, which is nothing but mode and its area of applications. So, mode can be considered or defined as that value which repeats for the maximum number of times in the data set. So, if we consider this example, so we have a data set where there is 1, 2, 3 certain number of values, and it is observed in this entire data set the value 6 has got repeated for maximum number of times, that is 3 times when compared with other values in the data set. So, for this data set the value mode is 6. So, coming to interpretation part of the value of mode. So, mode 6 means it is the value which has got repeated for number of times when compared with the other values. So, for example, if we consider different areas where mode is applicable, for example, if we consider if a business organization wants to understand the consumer preferences of a particular brand, so the firm can observe the data which brand has got repeated for maximum number of times based upon the value which is given by mode. So, that means if a particular brand got repeat for maximum number of times, it can be understood that that particular brand is mostly preferred by the customers. So, this is how we can understand the business situations or even investment patterns of the consumers. So, which option the consumer wants to invest, whether it is real estates or stocks or some insurance. So, based upon the options also, we can identify which is being mostly preferred by the customers for investments. And not only that, we can also observe mode is can be applicable for categorical variable. So, this is where we find the application, big area of application of mode. So, if when a variable turns out to be categorical variable, sometimes it is not possible to use either mean or median. So, since mean or median requires where the data should be measurable. So, there may be in the first lecture we have understood various types of variables where the variables may be qualitative variables. So, a qualitative variable is a variable which we cannot quantify, which we cannot measure using numerals. So, in such a case it is not possible to use the measures of central tendency like mean and median. In such a case, we can use mode. For example, if we consider color, if we consider brands, so these are the categorical variables which we can say. For example, we can list out various categories of colors like green, red, orange, blue and so on. But these are the variables which we cannot quantify as well as which we cannot even rank the categories. Even it is not possible to rank or to put in order. So, in such a case, mode turns out to be most useful measure to evaluate or for performing data analysis. So, this is a big usage where the usage of mode lies. And coming to various types of mode, there may be, so it is not mandatory that every data set should have mode value. So there may be data sets with even no mode value. That is where each and every data point will be different from that of the other value, where it is sometimes it is not possible to find out the most recurrent value. That is, every data point is different from the other. And there may be unimodal class, that is where for a data set there exists only one mode value, that is only one value gets repeat for number of times. And there may be cases or data sets which will have two mode values, that is what we call bimodal class. That is where for a data set we may have two mode values as 1 or say for example 10. So that means, so such kind of situation occurs when the value 1 and when the value 10 repeats in a data set for equal number of times. Therefore, an equal number of times, and when compared with other values, they may occur for maximum number of times. In such a case, we find two mode values, which is called bimodal. And we may also find trimodal, that is a data set even may have three mode values. That means three values may get repeat for maximum number of times, and whereas all those three values get repeat in equal number of times. In such a case, we find three mode values, which is called trimodal. So these are the different cases which may happen while calculation of mode. And let us coming to the comparison with mean and median. The big difference between mean, median and mode is, whereas the value of mean and median values gets affected by outliers and gets affected by the variance among the values, but whereas the measure mode will not get affected by the outliers. So that is a big difference between mean, median and mode. And coming to application part of mode, mode is applicable in the area of marketing. So when when the organization, when a retailer is interested in knowing which product is mostly preferred or which product is bought by the customer from number of times, which brand, in such a case we can use mode. And even if the organization, if the retailer is interested in knowing which product preferred by a single customer, a particular customer is which product he preferring mostly, then also we can make use of mode. And to identify which price point or which product bundle, whereas a retailer might be selling products in bundle or in terms of bunch. So in such a case, firms may be interested in knowing which bundle is being preferred by the customers, majority of the customers. And these are the different areas of applications of mode. Mode also we can calculate for in case of observations as well as in case of grouped data. So for example, in case of observation, for example, if we have data like the previous one, this is the data where we have just only observations. See, so when we have such kind of observations data, we observe the value which gets repeat for maximum number of times. This is how we obtain the value of mode in case of observations. And in case of grouped data, already it is discussed. Grouped data means where the data is grouped into class intervals. If we find class intervals in a frequency distribution, it is called grouped data. And in case of grouped data, this is the formula which we can make use of to calculate, to compute mode value. So whereas here L represents the lower limit of the model class, H represents the height of the model class, and This Fm represents frequency of the model class, F1 represents a frequency of the preceding of the model class, and F2 represents frequency of the succeeding class interval of the model class. So, after obtaining all these values, we can, by substituting these values in this formula, one can obtain the value of mode. And for example, let us consider this group distribution model class. So, let me tell you how to identify the model class. So, if we look at the frequency, already it is told that mode means the frequency or the number, the value which gets repeat for maximum number of times. Here this one represents that this mark 82.5 has got repeated for one, has been in the data set only for one time, and 5 represents that the class mark 87.5 got repeated for 5 times. That 5 that it means that 5 students has scored 87.5. And 8, this 8 represents that 8 students has scored 92.5 marks. So, this is how we can interpret this group distribution. So, we know that mode is that value which repeats for maximum number of times. Here the highest value is 8, that is 92.5 is the mark which is scored by majority of the students. Therefore, this will be the model class. So, after obtaining the model class, we have to obtain the value of L. So, L is the lower limit of the model class, and this is 8. This 8 is the frequency, and the frequency of the preceding class will be the value of F1, and this is the frequency of the succeeding class is F2, and this is Fm, mode of frequency of the model class, and height of the class is 5. So, now we have, this is how we have to obtain the values of all the values of the different variables like L, H, F1 and F2 and M, and then by substituting in this formula, that is where mode is equal to L lower limit L plus Fm model class frequency 8 minus previous class preceding class interval frequency 5, 2 into 8 minus F1 5 minus F2 is 5 into height of the class, that is 5. So, by simplifying this value, this expression, we can obtain the value of mode. Suppose, for example, suppose this value, say for example, mode, if we get 9. Plus 8 minus 5. So, this is how we can calculate the value of mode. Yes. So, by the end of this lecture, we understood what is mode and how a mode is different from that of mean and median, when to use the measure mode, and various application areas where we can use mode, and also we have understood how to compute mode in case of observations and in case of group distribution. Thank you.